accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today's reciters are going to be Sakshi Mataji for English translation and Prabhati Sachidevi Dasi Mataji for Sanskrit. And they'll be reciting from Canto 3, Chapter 23, verses 44 to 57. Mataji, please, will you start with the invocation 3 times, please? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Om Nam Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 44. Vibhajyanavadaatmanam मानवीं सुरतोऽसुकां रामां निरम्यन् प्रेमे वर्षपूगान् मुहूर्तवत्.
Translation. After coming back to his hermitage, he divided himself into 9 personalities just to give pleasure to Devahuti, the daughter of Manu, who was eager for sex life. In that way, he enjoyed with her for many, many years, which passed like a moment.
तस्मिन् विमानवुत्कृष्टां शय्यामृतिकरीं श्रुता नाच अबुध्यता तं कालं पत्यापिच्चेन सङ्गता.
Translation. In that aerial mansion, Devahuti, in the company of her husband, handsome husband, situated on an excellent bed that increased sexual desires, could not realize how much time was passing.
एवं योगानुभावेन दाम्पत्यो रमणायुः शतं व्यतीयुः कामलालस्यो मनाक्.
While the couple who eagerly longed for sexual pleasure were thus enjoying themselves by virtue of mystic powers, 100 autumns passed like a brief span of time.
तस्यामादत्तरेतस्तां भावयन्नात्मनात्मवित् दोधाविधाय रूपं स्वां सर्वसङ्कल्पविद्विभुः.
The powerful Kardama Muni, who was the knower of everyone's heart, and he could grant whatever one desired. Knowing the spiritual soul, he regarded her as half of his body. Dividing himself into 9 forms, he impregnated Devahuti with 9 discharges of semen.
अतः सा शिशुवे सद्यो देवहूतिश्रिया प्रजाः सर्वातश्चारु सर्वाङ्ग्यो लोहितोत्तलगन्धयः.
Immediately afterward, on the same day, Devahuti gave birth to 9 female children, all charming in every limb and fragrant with the scent of the red lotus flower.
पतिं सा प्रवृजिष्यन्तं तदा लक्ष्योऽस्यति बहिः स्मयमाना विक्लवेन हृदयेन विदूयता.
When she saw her husband about to leave home, she smiled externally, but at heart she was agitated and distressed.
लिख्यन्त्यदो मुखी भूमिन् पदानकमनिस्त्रिया उवाच ललितां वाचं निरुद्य श्रुकलांसनैः.
She stood and scratched the ground with her foot, which was radiant with the luster of her gem-like nails. Her head bent down. She spoke in slow but charming accents, suppressing her tears.
तिरुवाच सर्वं तद्भगवान् मह्यम् उपोवाह प्रतिश्रुताम् अथापि मे प्रपन्नाय अभयां दूतम् अर्हसि अभयां दातुम् अर्हसि.
Sri Devahuti said, My lord, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me. Yet because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness too.
ब्रह्मं दोहितृभिः विमृग्यः पतय समाः कश्चित् स्यान्मे विशोकाय त्वयि प्रवृज्जिते वनम्.
My dear Brahmana, as far as your daughters are concerned, they will find their own suitable husbands and go away to their respective homes. But who will give me solace after your departure as a sannyasi?
एतावतालं कालेन व्यतिक्रान्तेन मे प्रभो इन्द्रियार्था प्रसङ्गेन परित्यक्ता परात्मनः.
Until now, we have simply wasted so much of our time in sense gratification, neglecting to cultivate knowledge of the Supreme Lord.
इन्द्रियार्थेषु सज्जन्त्य प्रसङ्गस्त्वयि मे कृतः अजनाद्य परं भावं तथाप्यस्तु अभयाय मे.
Not knowing your transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of the senses. Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear.
सङ्गो यः संसृष्टिर्हेतु असस्तु विहितो अधीया स एव साधुषु कृतो निःसङ्गत्वया कल्पते.
Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same time of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge.
यत्कर्म धर्माय न विरागाय कल्पते न तीर्थपदसेवायै जीवन्नपि मृतो हि सः.
Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to a religious life, anyone whose religious ritualistic performances do not raise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to a devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing.
साहं भागवतो नूनं विञ्चिता मायया दृढम् यत्त्वां विमुक्तिदं प्राप्य न मुमुक्षेय बन्धनात्.
My Lord, surely I have solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For in spite of having obtained your association, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Please forgive me my mistakes. Thank you for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sakshi Mataji and Prabhavati Sachi Mataji. Very beautiful recitations. Thank you so much. Okay. And
Hare
thank you
Krishna,
so much.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you all the devotees for kindly joining this evening to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and also giving this opportunity to me to speak few words on Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so before we enter, we offer all our Mangalacharan prayers to the Gurus, Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, Radha Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone else. Then we enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्त्वय्ह भद्राणि विजुनोति सुहृसतां। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। केते चांशकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रादिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे। इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकधन्यं स्वस्तयनं महान्। कृष्णे त्वदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न शुश्रूषामेष पुराणार्कोऽधुनोदितः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवके नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये। अथ विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं चिन्तिदृढं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु त्वयिमेनन्यविषयमतिर्मदपते असकृतिरतिमुद्वाहतर्धा गङ्गेवघुमुदन्वति। श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सख विष्णु शुभावनिधृतराजन्यवंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरात्यहरावतार योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। तुलयामलवेर्नापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य मज्जानं किमुत शशः पुनश्च भूयात् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गर्ष तदाश्रयेषु महस्त्वयां यामुप्यां सृष्टिं मैत्रस्य सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरत्विषे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे बालोऽपि यदनुग्रहात् तरेणानमतग्राह व्याप्तं सिद्धान्तसागरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे यत्पादाश्रियवीरितः सङ्गृणात् आकृरात् अज्ञः सिद्धान्तसन्मनीम् ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः हरे कृष्ण Okay, thank you for kindly waiting. I shall share my screen. Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is third canto, chapter 23, Devhuti's Lamentation, the summary of this chapter today. So in this chapter, we have completed in a detailed sloka by sloka. Now we are entering in a summary level. So what this chapter is containing. Okay, so in this one, the different sections like one is Swayambhumanu, he gives Devahuti to Kaddama Prajapati and then he leaves. So, and then after Devahuti enters into the marriage life with Kaddama Muni, so how she has served Kaddama Muni, her husband, very nicely by keeping herself in so humble manner. So that is one section. Later on, second section is Kaddama Muni is very pleased with Devahuti's service, and then Kaddama Muni tells that I will give you the Bhagavad Prasada which he has achieved. But Devahuti, she desires to have children with Kaddama Prajapati. Okay, so that is the second section. And then understanding the Devahuti's intention, Kaddama Prajapati, he creates a aerial mansion which moves across anywhere according to the will of the traveler. Okay, and describing the beauty of that aerial mansion. That is the third section. And then fourth section is Devahuti is going to be served by so many of the servants. So there are 1,000 beautiful maid servants from the water pond. They will come up and they serve Devahuti. Okay, that is how Devahuti is being decorated and served and treated. So that is another fourth section. And later on, as soon as she is ready, and then she thinks of her husband, and then she goes to her husband. And later on in the fifth section, and Devhuti and Kaddama Prajapati, they roam throughout the world and all the planetary systems, the beautiful places and everywhere. Okay, so that is in such a way they spend 100 years. And then they return back to the ashrama. That is the fifth section. And then in the sixth section, it is the time for Kaddama Prajapati. Though Kaddama Prajapati was roaming along with the Devhuti, but he never forgot about his position, his transcendental position. He is always aware of. And now, because as per the agreement, he is going to leave after begetting the children. Okay, now at that time, Devhuti is going to speak and she laments. I have not requested my husband to get the transcendental knowledge from him. So now that is the fearlessness. And then, so in such a way, the last section, it goes. Okay, so we shall enter into the 23rd chapter. We will just go through the shlokas somewhere wherever it is needed, wherever the beauty is described and wherever they have roamed, there we simply go through the translation, and they will, in different parts, we see the important shlokas as well. So here Maitreya Muni speaking to Vidura how Devhuti is serving her husband. So Maitreya Vacham Pitrubhyam Praste Sadhi Patimingitakobida Nityam Paricharat Pritya Bhavaniva Bhavam Prabhum. So Devhuti, he is after Pitrubhyam Praste Sadhi. Once her father left, Swayambhumanu, he left to his kingdom, that is the Brahmavata. His capital is the Barshmati. So once he leaves, then Devhuti is like a Patim Ingita Kovida, knowing the intention of the husband. Patim Ingita Kovida. Nityam Paricharat Preetya, and all the time she renders service to her husband. Nityam Paricharat Preetya, with so much of love and affection. And Bhavaniva Bhavam Prabhu, giving the comparison like Mother Parvati serves Lord Shiva in such a way, Devhuti serving Kardama Prajapati. And then further, how she is serving, with what kind of intentions, how she speaks, how she behaves. Okay, it is very very important for every one of us who are in the grihasthas, how Devhuti is rendering service. Vishrambhena atmasauchena gaurvena damena cha susrushaya sauhrudena vacha madhuraya cha bhoho. Vishrambhena, with so much intimacy, intimate relationship between Devhuti and uh, her husband. Vishrambhena atmasauchena, the purity of mind and body. No more other thoughts, only the husband and husband service. Okay, so but now most modern women, they are most passionate about outside things, and they go and speak other sides and bring all the outside contents, bring it at home and make the home with a kind of mess. They wanted to fulfill all of neighbors are having that one, I wanted this one. So such kind of things it becomes. But here, Atma Sochena, purity of mind and body, no more other side thoughts. Gauravena damena cha, and with great respect, and damena with control of the senses. Gauravena damena cha, and susrushaya with service, sauhrudena, and with love and always well-wishing. Sauhrudena, well-wisher of her husband. Vacha madraya cha bhoho, and her words are so sweet. Whenever husband comes home from outside after working a lot, so much of hard work, and wife, simply with her smile, she can reduce all of his hard work and distress. That is the vacha madhuryacha bhoho. It's a very good quality. By that, she can win the heart of the husband. If she thinks in other way, then it will be a distress. Thinking that why I should, and he's just my husband ordinarily, every day I see him. But why it is required? If he thinks that, then there is again imbalance. So whenever a wife is speaking with sweet words, she can win the heart of a husband. Then she can fulfill all her desires through the husband. He will, husbands, they don't give money to anyone else. All the money and everything is only for wife and children only. Okay. So, but he is so pleased to give everything to her wife and the children. Okay, that is by her sweet words she can win the heart of a husband. And what else here Devhuti is doing? And she is leaving few qualities outside. They are Visrujya Kamam Dambam Cha, and she giving up Kamam, the lust, Dambam Cha, the pride, because she is the daughter of Swayambhumanu. Swayambhumanu is the king of the world, and what kind of pride she might be having. But here she has given up all such kind of pride. Lust and pride. Lust does not mean it is only the bodily relation. It may be the fulfilling the desires of any kind. Okay. Kamam dambam cha. She left all those qualities, giving up all those qualities. And dvesham. Why should I serve my husband? He's just ordinary ascetic. Why should I serve? It is kind of enviousness. But she left that one as well, gave up. Lobham, greediness. And agham, sinful activities. And madham, vanity. And by giving up all these things, and apramato buddhita nityam, And she is sane and Ujjita, laboring diligently, Nityam all the time. Tejayamsam Atoshayat, and she served her husband and pleased her husband, who is very powerful, ascetic. So in such a way, again here, though Devapati is the daughter of Swayambhu, she gave up all these qualities: pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, vanity, and everything. Sometimes people, they come from different backgrounds and then they'll think, why I am great, in such a way they live. That is where all problem starts. Okay, there are many things that women can do, men cannot do, and few things men can do, women cannot do. So there is, but it is not equality. So here we see on the transcendental platform, everyone is a individual spirit souls that is equal, but not on the body. Body is design of the body is different. Body frame, the flesh is different from men to women. They have different functionalities. So they should not work consider on the body level. If they're having a equality on the soul transcendental platform, not on the bodily platform. If we imitate something, then there will be imbalance in the society. And then further, that is how she is serving. And then when Maitreya is further saying that whenever she has been serving like that, her body became a bit very lean and she became weak because everyone loves their body. But ignoring her interest in her body, she served her husband, knowing that her husband is so powerful. Okay, so this is Savai Devarshi Varyastam Manavim Samanuratam Daivad Garisah Patyuhu आशा आशासानं महाशिष्यः कालेन भूयसा क्षामम् and कर्षितं व्रतचर्यया by व्रतचर्यया and then प्रेम गद्गदया वाचा पीडितः कृपया अब्रवीत् and when her body is kshamam and it was weakened at the time Kardama Prajapati looking at Devhuti's body, he is speaking Krupaya Abhravit. The daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as a greater even than Providence. Thus, she expected great blessings from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observances. Seeing her condition, Kaddama, the foremost of the celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love. Okay, and Kadma Prajapati words, these are all, okay, this is first section is now done. In the second section, Kadma Prajapati speaks. And here, what it is permanent, what is not permanent, what we can ask for. So he gives indication that information to Devhuti. But what Devhuti is going to ask, we will see that one from here. Kaddamuvacham तुष्टोऽहमद्य तव मानवी मानदायाहं शुश्रूषया परमया परया च भक्त्यम् यो देहिनम् अयम् अतीव सुहृत्सदेहो नावेक्षितः समुचितः क्षिपितुं मदत्ते. So tushtoham, I'm very pleased. So the Kaddamayam is saying, I'm very pleased. Tushtoham adhya, today, tava manavi manadayaham. I'm very pleased with you, O Devhuti. Manavi, O daughter of Manu. Manadayaha, you who are respectful. Those are daughter of Swami Manu, she has worked for husband like that. Susrushaya Paramaya. Susrushaya is by the service. Service is very important. And like the disciples are the spiritual master. Susrushadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syanmasya Vipraha Punyatidha Nishevana. Whenever we render service to the great sages or the pure devotees of the Lord, then we get the taste for Vasudeva Kataruchi. And they are like a Syan Mahatsevya Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevanat Punyatirtha. They are like a Punyatirtha, place of pilgrimages. Okay, so here Kadama Prajapati is also a devotee of the Lord. He has already got that Bhagavad Prasada. Now she is rendering service to Kadama Muni. Susrushaya, Paramaya, most excellent, Parayacha, with highest Bhaktya by the devotion. She is rendering service to her husband with devotion. Yo dehina mayam ativa suhrusadeho. Yo dehina mayam ativa. And that body, dehinam, to the embodied I am, this body is extremely dear to everyone. Sadeha, Sadeho, Navekchitaha, Samupachitaha, Kshipitum Madatte. But ignoring, instead of taking care of her body, she worked for Kadama Prajapati, Madatte. And in such a way, he's saying, Yeme Sudharma Nitasya Tapasamadhihi Vidhyatma Yoga Vijita Bhagat Prasadaha. Tanyevate Madanu Sevana Yavarudhan Dushtim Prapasya Vitarami Abhyan Ashokhan. So he is saying, Vijjhatma Yoga Vijita Bhagat Prasadaha. Now, so Kadamuni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. This is Bhagat Prasadaha. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. And now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. So Kadamamuni, when he is giving all these achievements to Devhuti. Devhuti, just by service, she is getting half of those things. Again, there is when the husband does payas activities, she automatically receives 50% of the payas credit. And if husband does any sinful activities, she doesn't receive anything. Wife does not receive any sinful activity. And if wife does pious, it does not go to the husband. If wife does sinful activity, it goes to husband as well. It will be shared. Okay, so some logic is there because she is under the protection of the husband. So here Kadama Prajapati is mentioning that I shall offer, but here Bhagat Prasada, he is going to offer this to Devhuti. By that one will be free from fear and lamentation. But so here we see the fear and lamentation. Initially he is offering them, but later on she laments at the end of the chapter whenever he is about to leave. But she did not ask. So for now, let us see further what else he is going to explain about this Bhagavad Prasada. अन्ये पुनर्भगवतो भ्रुव मुद्विजृम्भ विभ्रंशितार्थरचनाः किमुरुक्रमस्य सिद्धासि भुङ्क्षु विभवान् निजधर्मदोहान् दिव्या नरैः धृदिगान् नृपविक्रियाभिः दिव्यं नरैः धृदिगान् नृपविक्रियाभिः everything. So he is mentioning what if we have accumulated many of comforts, material comforts, in due course of time, material things, it will be deteriorated. In the Brahudvijrumbha and in the let us see this one. What is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts, very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Okay, so it is generally people who are of aristocracy and material possessions, it is very rare for them to get. But here, Kadama Muni has got it. But Devhuti, though daughter of Swayambhu and served simply by her service, she is eligible to receive the Bhagavad Prasada. And then Evam Bhruvanam Abhlakila Yuhagamaya Vidhyavachakshanam Aveksha Gatari Rasit Samprashriya Pranaya Vihvalaya Greshat Vridhavaloka Vilasad Hasitananaha Hasitananaha. So now, as soon as husband is saying and speaking that he would give, now Devhuti is so much of happy. Her husband is speaking and he is giving something. And now, let us see what he says. Upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devhuti was very satisfied. Her smiling face shining with a slightly bashful glance, she spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love. Vedavaloka vilasad hasita ananaha. Now, this is Pranaya Vihvalaya. Pranaya Vihvalaya. When husband is giving something with love and affection, then immediately wife is inclined to fulfill her desires. Okay, now Devhuti is going to say what she wanted. Though now he has offered the greatest gifts to Devhuti. Now Devhuti is asking, Radham Bhat Vichavrashai Tad Amogha Yoga Mayadipe Tvai Vibho Tadavaimi Bhattaha. Oh, my dear husband, I understand that your great personality, you achieved all these things. I know, Vibho, you're a great personality. Tadavaimi Bhattaha, I understand that. And Yesti Abhidai Samayaha Sakrud Anga Sangho Bhuyad Griyesi Gunaha Prasavaha Satinam. And now, once you have promised me that you would uh, bless me with the children, so I wanted to have that children now. Sakrud Anga Sango by bodily union. That time has come now, and now for a great woman and a great when the woman is a great husband, if she has got great children as well, then she will feel complete. So now she is asking that desire. Gunaha prasavaha satinam bhuyad garisi gunaha prasavaha satinam. Since children are great quality for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband. So she is asking bodily union should now fulfill. And then further, she mentioned her desire and also she also giving some indications what and all husband needs to arrange for that purpose. तत्रेतिर्कृत्यम् उपशिक्षतेतोपदेशम् येनैष मे कर्षितो अतिरिरंसयात्मम् सिद्ध्येत ते कृतमनोभवदर्शिताय देनस्तदीश भवनम् सदृशम् विचक्ष्व. So she is mentioning Bhavanam Sadrusham Vichakshva. Can you please think of a Bhavanam, a palace for our bodily union? So likewise, she is mentioning, let us see. Dehuti continued, my dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotion for you. Excited emotion. Therefore, kindly make that arrangements, what arrangements must be made according to the scriptures, so that my skinny body emaciated through unsatisfied passion may be rendered fit for you. Also, my Lord, please think of a suitable house for this purpose. Now she is giving some indication to Kardama Prajapati that her body is not yet right for a bodily union. So for that, husband needs to think what is required for that body to be cleansed and then come back to the normal, and also a palace also required. Okay, so again, this union of man and woman, that is where everything come into the picture. This is bhava. One will be entangled in this material world by coming in contact. Either Prabhupada mentions in the lectures, either it is scriptures wise or if illegal wise. Either way, you will go into the entanglement. But coming out of that one must be always very careful. When the believing entity, a baby in the womb, baby prays to the Supreme Lord. Oh, my dear Lord, now I'm coming to this material world again. Now I would be engaging in your service so that I would not take birth again in the womb of another mother. Bhuyo yata vyasanam yetad anekarandram mame bhavishyati upasalita Vishnu padaha. I do not want to take birth again. So this should be lost. So Tasmadaham, he mentions so many prayers. The baby in the womb, Yenodhari Arpitaha, in the womb, by keeping his hands folded, and then he offers his prayers to the Lord, who is in the heart of all the living entities. Okay, so now here, that union, she is desiring the union, and also this is where the balance is needed, and Kardama Prajapati need to take Devhuti wherever she wanted to go and visit. Okay, so this is what she is desiring now. Now Kardama Prajapati is not going to argue anymore. Further, Maitreya Muni is saying, as soon as Kardama Muni understood the intention of Devhuti, what he has done. Now there are two sections are done. One is the Devhuti's service. Second one is Kardama Prajapati's benedictions, but desire of Devhuti. Now going into the third section about the aerial mansion. So aerial mansion, it is a beautiful palace, which is like a gigantic flying palace. It can travel all over the universe. So Maitreya Muni is saying that प्रियायाः प्रियमन्विच्छन् कर्दमो योगमासितः विमानं कामकं चत्तः तर्हि एव आविर्चीकरत्. Immediately Kardama Muni, he has created this aerial mansion by his yogic power. Vimanam kamakam khyataha tarhi eva avirachikarat. Then and there itself, instantly, he created that one. That palace is Sarvakama Dhugam Divyam Sarvaratna Samanvitam Sarvruddhi Upachay Udarkam Manistambaihi Upaskrutam. Manistambaihi Upaskrutam. It contains so much of beautiful. It will fulfill all kinds of desires. Sarvakama Dhugam Divyam Sarvaratna Samanvitam. All the jewels, they are bedecked in the walls and pillars like that. Sarvruddhi Upachay Udarkam. And in due course of time, its value would increase, its glories would increase, it would not deteriorate. If you use the cement and other materials, in due course of time, it will deteriorate. But whereas this palace, in gradually, it will be glorious. Okay, so that is, it is described. So here, which tended to increase in course of time, all the wealth, which will be, it's every form of furniture and wealth, which tended to increase in the course of time. It is like a gold and everything, jewels, their value will always be increased. But cement and all those stuff, it will decrease. And then it is described Divyopakaranopētam Sarvakala Sukavaham Pattikābhih Patakābhih Vichitrābhih Alankrutam Sragbhih Vichitramalябhih Manjusinjat Shadangribhih Dukulakshawma Kauseyaihi Nanavastreihi Virajitam. So Divyopakaranopētam, Upakarana, so many of are paraphernalia, Upakaranas, and Sarvakala Sukavaham, in all time and places, it is always pleasing. And Pattikabihi, Patakabihi, so many festoons and flags and festoons. Vichitrabihi Alankuritam, very wonderful things in there. And in such a way, it is decorated, Alankuritam. And Sragvihi Vichitramalyabihi, and with wreaths and with charming flowers, Vichitramalyabihi, Manjashinjat Shadangribihi, and with sweet humming bees, Manjashinjat Shadangribihi, Dukulakshoma Kauseyehi, so many of clothes, the curtains, they're all like Kshoma Kauseyehi, they're all made with the of the silk cloth, linen of silk cloth. And Nana Vastraihi Virajitam, so many other clothes are also there required for pleasures. Okay, and then further, it is of Upari Vinyasta Nilayeshu Prutak Prutak, so many floors. It's so many floors. It is mentioned as 7 floors here in this one, arranged in 7 stories. Upari Vinyasta Nilayeshu Prutak Prutak. Chiptaihi Kasubibhi Kantam Paryankyavajanasanahi. It is decorated with beds, couches, fans, and seats, and all separately arranged in 7 stories. Paryankyavajanasanahi. And then it is so charming as well. And then further it is described Tatra Tatra Nikipta Nana Silpopashobhitam. So many of the statues within that palace. नानाशिल्पोपशोभितं महामर्कटस्थल्या जुष्टं विध्रमवेदिभिः. Mahamarkata that highly raised dioceses, they are made with the markata, is the great emeralds, the greenish ones. Justum vidhrama vedibihi. And then Dwas vidhrama dehalya bhatam vajrakapatavat sikareshu indraneeleshu hema kumbaihi adishritam. Dwas vidhrama dehalya bhatam vajrakapatavat. So Vajram Kapatavat, they are made with the palace was very beautiful with coral thresholds at the entrances and its doors bedecked with diamonds, gold pinnacles crown its domes of sapphire. So beautifully describing all this palace. Sikareshu Indranileshu. This Indranileshu is having that, what is that one? Of the sapphires. Indranila money. Okay. And then further, Chakshashmat Padma Ragagraihi Vajrabittishu Nirmitaihi Justum Vichitra Vaitanaihi Maha Arhaihi Hematoranaihi Chakshashmat Padmaraga Grehi. And the doors of this palace, the great doors, they are big Padmaraga jewels. They are appearing like two eyes to the side of the doors. Padmaraga Grehi, Vajra Bittishu Nirmitaihi, and also made with so many Vajras of the diamonds. Vichitra Vaitanaihi. Vaitanaihi is like with canopies. Justum Vichitra Vaitanaihi. Maharhaihi Hematoranaihi. Maharhaihi, the greatly valuable Hematoranaihi with gates of gold. These are all the decorations of this palace. Flying aerial mansion. Okay, and then further it is describing here about the birds. Hamsaparavatavrataih tatra tatra nikūjitam कृत्रिमान मन्यमानैः swan adruhya cha. And the swans, peacocks, birds, so many things. Hamsas, the swans, Paravatani, pigeons, Vrataihi, the so many Vrataihi is the multitudes, the batches, the flocks of birds. They are flying and then coming and just standing on that palace. Again they will go. Again here, Kutriman Manyamanaihi. There are so many of ready-made birds also made with some kind of jewels or metals. And the real birds are thinking that, oh, our friends are there at the ponds. And they are coming there and then stand there and looking at that. Again fly again back. Adruhya cha, rising repeatedly. It is so beautiful to see that birds flying in the sky with so much flock, the flock of birds. Sometimes they make very nice designs in the air as well. One has to observe. So if we see in the villages in the evening time, different kinds of the cranes and different kinds of birds, small birds also in different times and places. We would see they will coming in a particular form flying in the sky. It is so beautiful sight to see. So here this palace is like that. Kritriman Manyamana, he swan Adruhya cha. And what else in the palace contains? Viharasthana Vishrama, Samvesha Pranganajiraihi, Yatopajosham Rachitaihi, Viswapanam Ivatmanaha. And Viharasthana Vishrama, the picnic places. Viharasthana Vishrama, Samvesha Pranganajiraihi. And bedrooms, Prangana, inner yards, Ajiraihi with outer yards as well. Yatopajosham Rachitaihi. And according to the comfort, it is which were designed very nicely. Rachitaihi Viswapanam Yuvatmanaha. And it causing the astonishment even to the Kadma Prajapati himself. That is his mystic power. The beautiful palace was created now. Okay, so whenever we go to the chat GPT and ask, I wanted a nice player to having this one is gone and then Prabhupada, Radha, Krishna and everything, in a few moments it will create a very beautiful. It is a small mistake of chat GPT. This is artificial intelligence. But here, Kadma Prajapati, by his mystic power, by his desire, he created this aerial mansion, Yogam Asitaha. Okay, and then further, just we shall move with a little bit of reading. And when he saw Devhuti looking at the gigantic opulent palace with a displeased heart, he said, this is displeased by the astonishment. It is not the displeased astonishment. Because as soon as they were living in the hermitage by looking at the big palace, but immediately she was looking, oh, what is this, like that. So Kardamoni could understand her feelings because he could study the heart of anyone. Thus, he personally addressed his wife as follows, and saying that he uses a particular word, that bhiru. Nimajjasmin hridebhiru vimanam idam aruha idam sukla prutam teedham asham yapakam runam. So here, this is idam sukla prutam teedham. Sukla prutam is the Lord's tears come from the Lord Vishnu from his eyes whenever he looked into Kadam Prajapati's prayers. Then that drop, it turned into Bindu Saravara. Tasmin Bindu Sari Avati. This is all the great sages, their hermitages are nearer to that Saraswati river is going around the Bindu Saravara. Yasmin Bhagavato Netra Nyapatan Asura Bindavaha Purpaya Samparitasya Prapanya Advitaya Brusham. That Yasmin Bhagavan, this that tears, it is fall down there when Lord looked at it with compassionate glances and Kadama Prajapati, that turned into Bindu Saravara. You take bath in the Saravara or Devhuti. Likewise, he is mentioning, you look afraid, very much afraid. Bhiru, Hriday Bhiru. So once you take a bath there, then you will be freed of all kinds of anxiety. So it is that Bindu Saravara created by Lord Vishnu himself, which can grant all the desires of human being and then mount this airplane. And then further he says that the lotus-eyed Devhuti accepted the order of her husband, and because of her dirty dress and locks of matted hair on her head, she did not look very attractive because they are ascetics. And then further, her body was coated with a thick layer of dirt and her breasts were discolored. She dove, however, into the lake, which contained the sacred waters of the Saraswati. Now she is going to take bath in the waters. And now, in a house inside the lake, she saw 1,000 girls, all in the prime of youth and fragrant like lotuses. Those girls are there, 1,000 girls she saw in that waters, in the Binsara waters. Seeing her, the damsels suddenly rose and said with folded hands, "We are your maid servants. Tell us what we can do for you." Devhuti. Likewise, they are very nicely inviting Devhuti there. And then, for what purpose? Snanena, tan maha arhena, snapayitva manasvinim, dukule nirmale nutne, dhadurasyai cha manadaha. So they are mentioning daduhu asyai cha manadaha. And the girls, being very respectful to Devhuti, brought her forth, and after bathing her with valuable oils and ointments, they gave her fine, new spotless cloth to cover her body. So here, this section is how to decorate Devhuti's body, cleanse her body, decorate everything. It is a beauty of it. And many Matatis may like it. Spotless cloth to cover her body. And then further, what else? Bhoshanani paradhani variyamsi jhumanti cha annam sarva gunopetam panam chaivamrutat asavam. Panam chaiva amruta asavam. And they have decorated her body very nicely with very excellent and valuable jewels which shone brightly. Next, they offered her food containing all good qualities and a sweet inebriating drink called asavam. They give nice beverages as well. And then they gave also the mirror to look at herself. Atha adarse sumatmanam tragvenam virjambaram virjam kurta swastenam kanyabhihi bahumanitam. Atha adarse sumatmanam. In a mirror, then in a mirror she beheld her own reflection, and her body was completely freed from all that, and she was adorned with a garland, dressed in unsullied robes, and decorated with auspicious marks of tilaka. She was served very respectfully by the maids. Okay, so this is how women needs to decorate their bodies when they are attending their husband. And now all the maid servant, they are decorating Devahuti's body. And also marks of tilaka. Main thing is sometimes we use the sindoor and so many other decorating the face. They served very respectfully by the maids. She was served very respectfully by the maids. And then further, her entire body, including her head, was completely bathed and she was decorated all over with ornaments. She wore a special necklace with a locket. Special necklace with a locket. There were bangles on her wrists and tinkling anklets of gold about her ankles. And then further, about her hips, she wore a girdle of gold set with numerous jewels, and she was further adorned with precious pearl necklace and auspicious substances. Okay, like the chandana, like scents and perfumes. Okay, auspicious substances. And then further, her countenance shone with beautiful teeth and charming eyebrows. Her eyes, distinguished by lovely moist corners, depicted the beauty of lotus birds. Lotus buds. Her face was surrounded by dark curling tresses. Okay, it again, her countenance is shown with all these features. So beautiful, there with his face. And then further, so still it is glorifying the beauty of, and then now, when she is ready with all the decorations, she is thinking of her husband. यदा सस्मार ऋषभम ऋषीणां दयितं पतिं तत्र चास्ते सहस्त्रीभिः yatraste sa prajapatihi yatraste sa prajapatihi. When she thought of her great husband, the best of the sages, Kardama Muni, who was very dear to her, Daitam Pati, and she, along with all the maidservants, at once appeared where he was. Tatra chaste sahastribihi yatraste sa prajapatihi prajapatihi Kardama Prajapati. And Devhuti and all the maids, they are attending Kardama Muni now. And then how she is now feeling at this moment. So she was amazed to find herself surrounded by 1,000 maids in the presence of her husband and to witness his yogic power. And the sage could see that Devhuti had washed herself clean and was shining forth as though no longer his former wife. She had regained her own original beauty. As the daughter of a prince, dressed in excellent robes, her charming breast duly girded, she was waited upon by 1,000 Gandharva girls. O destroyer of the enemy, O Vidura, his fondness for grew, and he placed her on the aerial mansion. So now Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura about the beauty of Devhuti and what Kadma Prajapati is doing and the maid servants, how they are attending. Now, here further it is described, though seemingly attached to his beloved consort while served by the Gandharva girls, the sage did not lose his glory. This is very important. Kadam Prajapati, he is trying to fulfill the desire of Devhuti. But it is not his desire to be like that passionate. But he has accepted that passionate feelings to fulfill the desire of Devhuti. And which was mastery over himself. So in the aerial mansion, Kadamuni with his consort shone as charmingly as the moon in the midst of the stars in the sky, which causes rows of lilies to open in the ponds at night. So this is again what we can see. This is the main point. Sage did not lose his glory. And similarly, Swayambhu Manu also, when he was enjoying as a king with his wife and children in his palace, he was also he never fallen. He remembers all his, even enjoying all kinds of opulences. He will never ever fall. Nasekuhu. He was also described like a expert in the yoga. Okay, because he is surrendered soul to the Supreme Lord. They will never ever forget. Why? Because once they will come to the transcendental position, Neha Vikramana Sosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Swalpamupyesha Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhaya. It is a permanent spiritual asset. It will never ever deteriorate. Okay, so that is the glory of the devotees. And he shone as charmingly as the moon in the midst of the stars. And that Ariel mentioned, he traveled to the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru, which were rendered all the more beautiful by cool, gentle, fragrant breezes, okay, that stimulated passion. In these valleys, the treasurer of the gods, Kuvera, surrounded by beautiful women and praised by the Siddhas, generally enjoys pleasure. Kadamuni, also surrounded by the beautiful damsels and his wife, went there and enjoyed for many, many years. These Himalaya mountains were in the Bhumandala. Bhumandala is divided into 7 islands and 7 oceans. In the middle one is called Jambudvipa, middle island. That Jambudvipa is divided into 9 varshas, like Bharata Varsha, Kimpurusha Varsha, Ketumala Varsha, Bhadrasha Varsha, and Ilavrita Varsha. Ilavrita Varsha is the center one where Lord Shiva is present and where the Meru mountain is there. And it comes around the Himalayan regions, which is the place for Janmaushadi Tapo Mantrehi Yoga Siddhaihi Naretaraihi Justam Kinnara Gandharvaihi Apsurobihi Vrutam Sada. All the time, it is the place Janma Ushadi Tapo Mantrehi. It is a birthplace of Aushadis, medicines, tapa, mantras. This is Himal. That is the glorious of those regions, Himalaya mountains. If you go to the Uttar Pradesh, that area, it is so beautiful. I have never been, but I went to only Vrindavan and Prayagraj. But that area, it is described Janmaushadi tapo mantraihi yoga siddhaihi naretaraihi justam kinnara gandharvaihi apsurobihi vrutam sada, all the time. Many celestial beings are roaming in those areas. And there again, Ramanam Viharinti Nam Ramanaihi Siddhayoshitas. They are all wives of yogis as well. Okay, so that is the glories of that area. So here, there is beautiful descriptions in the later on in the fourth canto when Brahma and the demigods to go and see Lord Shiva there. They see all this beauty and also very nice to see it, but due to time, I skip those things. Now, what else here? He is roaming with his wife, satisfied by his wife. So here he has enjoyed so many years, for many, many years, and that Ariel mentioned in those areas. Satisfied by his wife, he enjoyed in that Ariel mansion, not only on Mount Meru, but in different gardens known as Vaishrambhaka, Surasana, Nandana, and Pushpabhadraka, and Chaitrarajya. So Chaitrarajya, and by the Mansa Sarovara Lake, many of these gardens. And that is very beautiful places. He traveled in that way through the various planets as well. In the planets, as the air passes uncontrolled in every direction. So that airplane will go by the will of that traveler. So coursing through the air in that great and splendid aerial mansion, which could fly at his will, he surpassed even the demigods. Even the demigods. Later on, even demigods are also a bit jealous of those palace and opulence of Kadma Prajapatis. Those things, aerial mansion. At the end of this canto, it is described by Maitreya Muni. How Kadma Prajapati looked after his wife very nicely, and beddings and everything nicely we are seeing. Again, it will be re-explained. Okay, and further, it says, I'm mentioning what is difficult to achieve for a determined man who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of God's lotus feet. His feet are source of sacred rivers like the Ganges, which put an end to the dangers of mundane life. Okay, so this is whoever takes bath in the Ganges river, um, they will be liberated. Okay, so that comes from the lotus feet of the Lord. या वै लसत् श्री तुलसी विमिश्र कृष्णाङ्गुरेणुम् अभ्युदिकाम्भुनेत्री पुनाति लोकान् उभयत्र सा ईशान्. So it is described that it is mixed with the dust of Krishna's lotus feet and the tulsi leaves and also aroma from the Krishna's body. Krishnangrenum abhidikambhunetri. Punati lokan ubhyatra sa Ishan. It will purify all the upper and bottom planet systems, including Lord Shiva. Kastam nasaveta marishyamanaha. Who would not go and bath in that Ganges river? Everyone will take. That's why many people, around 700 million people took bath during the Prayagraj in the Kumbh Mela time. Okay, so that is the glories of Ganges. In the similar way, what is difficult to achieve for determined men who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet, which is source of everything. Okay, so that is beauty of it, bringing the Lord. And then further, after showing his wife the globe of the universe and its different arrangements full of many wonders, the great yogi Kadamuni returned to his own hermitage. Now back to his own hermitage near to the Bindusaravara. And there, after coming back to his hermitage, he divided himself into 9 personalities just to give pleasure to Devhuti. Because she is the Surata Utchuka. This is Surata Utchukam. So she wanted to have good union and a good enjoyment with her husband. So knowing that one, he divided himself into 9 personalities. Okay, and then in that way he enjoyed with her for many, many years, which passed just like a moment. And now, coming to the 45 shloka there, in that aerial mansion, Devhuti in the company of her handsome husband, situated on the excellent bed that increased sexual desires, could not realize how much time was passing. This is whenever we are engaging in our day-to-day activities, Deha Patchakalatradishu Atma Sainyeshu Asaswapi. These are all temporary things. Tesham Pramatto Nidhanam Pastinnapi Napasyati. Even though time is passing, many people are taking birth and dying. They're watching it, but they don't see it for themselves. In such a way, time will drop all the time. All of the lifespan of the people who are engaged in the sensual gratification, sense gratification things. So here, she could not realize how much time was passing. Now, when the time has come here, while the couple who eagerly longed for sexual pleasure were thus enjoying themselves by virtue of mystic powers. 100 autumns passed like a brief span of time. If we look back, our again childhood times, and we still think of it so beautiful, but so many years passed on, our bodies are getting deteriorated, sometimes lagging, and so many diseases, and so much of inconveniences. And there are byproducts of that body. It is time is taking. This nature is working on the bodies, but actually the living entity, it is not related to all these interactions between earth, water, fire like that. It is always steady and constant. It does it, but nature is working on the bodies according to the people's bodies, and nature is working on those bodies. So this is Prakrutehe Karmani Gunehi Karmani Sarvashaha. Okay, so that, and then further it is described. In order to beget children from the 9 personalities, the powerful Kadmuni was the knower of everyone's heart, and he could grant whatever one desired, knowing the spiritual soul. He regarded her as half of his body. Dividing himself into 9 forms, he impregnated Devhuti with 9 discharges of semen. 9 discharges of semen. And then what happened? Immediately afterward, on the same day, Devhuti gave birth to 9 female children, all charming in every limb and fragrant with the scent of the red lotus flower. Utpala Gandhayaha, near Lohita Utpala Gandhayaha. So beautiful children. And then, now that is Kaddama Prajapati's task is done, children are born. Now what is happening? When she saw her husband about to leave home, She smiled externally, but at heart she was agitated and distressed. She was distressed. And because she's feared, because her husband is leaving. Now she stood and scratched the ground with her foot, which was radiant with the luster of her gem-like nails. Her head bent down, she spoke in a slow yet charming accents, suppressing her tears. So she is speaking to her husband. Now, this is the summary of our chapter, Lamentation, how she is lamenting. She mentions to her husband that, my dear husband, Sarvam tad Bhagavan Mahyam Upavaha Pratishrutam Atapi me Prapannaya Abhyam Dhatu Marhasi. My dear husband, you have fulfilled all my desires, whatever you have promised. Okay? Sarvam tad Bhagavan Mahyam Upavaha Pratishrutam Tatapi Prapannaya. Tatapi me Prapannaya. I am surrendered soul unto you. I am your wife. Now, Abhyam Dhatu Marhasi, please give me the fearlessness as well once you go. And then she says, Brahman duhitra bihitubhyam, how it is fearful? She is mentioning her children, Brahman duhitra bihitubhyam, your daughters, Vimrugyaha patayaha samaha, they will find their husbands and they will go away. Kashyasyan me vishokaya, who will be there to free me from the lamentation because I will be alone? Vishokaya, who will be there to solace me? Tvayi pravrijitevanam, when you go to the forest, Tvayi pravrijitevanam. So she is giving that who will give me solace after your departure as a sannyasi? It's very beautiful. And these are the sloka 53 to 57. They are very important to remember as well. ये तावतालं कालेन व्यतिक्रान्तेन मे प्रभो इन्द्रियार्धप्रसङ्गेन परित्यक्तपरात्मनः. So, yetavatalam kalena. So, until as much of this much of time, this 100 years, so much of this time, vitikrantena, and they're passed. Me Prabhu, they're all passed. And what? Indriyadha prasangena, in the sense gratificatory things, in the matter of indulging sense gratificatory things. Indriyadha prasangena. Parityakta paratmanaha, disregarding the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Whenever Kadama Prajapati was giving this Bhagat Prasada, then she was mentioning Angasango, Sakrut Angasango. She wanted and bodily union and to beget children. Now she is lamenting after 100 years. So she is Parityakta Paratmana. She mentioning neglecting to cultivate knowledge of the Supreme Lord. That's why she is lamenting. And further she says, this is again very important. When we associate with the devotees, what happens? Knowingly or unknowingly. Indriyadeshu sajjanta prasangastvayime krutaha ajanantya param bhavam tatapyastu abhayayame. Indriyadha sajjanta. Indriyadeshu. Even for sense gratification, if we approach the saintly people, Indriyadeshu sajjantya prasangastvayime krutaha, and prasangaha, affinity for you. Me kritaha. It was done by me, but it is ajanantya, even though not knowingly. Param bhavam, your transcendental situation. Tatapyastu abhayayame. Nonetheless, let it be so that I will get the fearlessness, likewise by the association of the saintly person. So here it says, not knowing your transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of senses. Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. Okay, this is what means sometimes some of the Matajis previously also asking, if I am executing devotional service, what about my family and everyone else? So this is just by associating with the saintly people. Associating with the saintly people, they will immediately get that devotion to themselves as well, because it is transcendental knowledge. The person he is observing, but whenever the body does not function properly, at the time the subtle things will start working, and what is required, what is not needed, at the time it will filter out. Okay, so this is Indriyad Sajjantya. That's why if we see the history, sometimes great sages are meditating. Some of the women, they approach the sages to beget children. For example, Vishrava, the son of Pulaha, who that is Ravanasura's mother, that is, I think, Kaikasi. She approached Vishrava to beget a child because her father induced her to go and get a child through Vishrava, so that he will be powerful when you get a children from the ascetics. So likewise, many of those instances, the women approached the saintly people to beget a children. We see in the Mahabharata also, Vyasadeva begot the children like the Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura through Ambika and Ambalika and Ambika's maid servant. Okay, this is by the association. They will get a good children. So now it will rid of all fear when you associate with the saintly people. She is mentioned, Devhut is mentioning, now I have got your association, my dear husband. And then she mentions that about the association with the devotees and association with the non-devotees, what happens. संगो यह संस्तेर हेतु असत्सु विहितो अधियाम सएव साधुषु कृतो निसंगत्वाय कल्पते. Sango yaha samstir hetuhu. Association with the materialistic people that will cause the cycle of birth and death. Sango yaha samstir hetuhu. And then asatsu bhito adhiya. Asatsu is the with those engaged in the sense gratification. Bhito and done adhiya through ignorance. Saeva sadhushu kruto, but because it will entangle in the cycle of birth and death. If we associate with the devotees, Saeva sadhushu kruto, what happens? Nisangatvaya kalpate. Nisangatva is the liberation, the path for the prasangamajharam pasham atmanaha kavayo viduhu. Saeva sadhushu kruto mokshadvaram apavrutam. Mokshadvaram apavrutam, when we associate with the saintly people. So here again, that is Kapil Bhagavan says to Devhuti. Now Devhuti is saying the same statement in the other way. Saeva sadhushu kruto nisangatvaya kalpate. Very beautiful reflection here. Okay, so association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. This is the benefit. It is ajnata sukriti. Unknowingly, one achieves so much of the spiritual assets. Okay, so such a beautiful. So, and then she mentions nehiyat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tiddhapada sevai jivannapi mruto hi saha. If one does not search for the absolute path, the transcendental path, nehiyat karma dharmaya, and though one is performing all these religious duties perfectly, na viragaya kalpate, but he doesn't get a detachment. There is no vairagya to this material world. Then na tiddhapada sevai, if he is not rendering service to the Supreme Lord, then jivannapi bruto hi saha. Even though he is living, he is just like a dead body. When he is not coming to the Lord for the service and he doesn't get detachment from the material world, he is just like a dead body. Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to religious life, anyone whose religious ritualistic performance do not raise him to the renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing. Jivanapi mruto hi saha. And this is again in the Saunakadi sages, Jivacho Bhagavatangreenum Najatu Mache Belabeta Yestu, Sri Vishnu Padjam Manustulisyaha, Swasancho Yestu Naveda Gandam. If one does not receive the dust of the devotees of the Lord, he is also like a dead body. If one does not smell the tulsi leaves which are offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though he is breathing, he is like a dead body. Swasanchavo Sevaha, even though he is breathing. Sri Vishnu Padhyam Madhustullisyaha Swasanchayo Yestu Naveda Gandam, he does not smell those tulsi leaves. So in such a way, Devhuti is also mentioning that Jivanapi Mruto hi saha, if does not come to the devotional service to the Lord, it's like a dead body. What is the use? anything else, when there is no one single point of object. When we are going to, we must be determined to go to a particular destination. Otherwise, going here and there, all the time is wasted and the human birth will be wasted. One must be focused on the destination. All our devotees, we aim towards the goal of Vrindavan. Okay, that is the ultimate destination. And then she mentions, and because all this time, so many 100 years have been passed, and by the external energy of the Lord, this is Maya. And she is mentioning that I am cheated by this Maya. I did not ask for the transcendental knowledge from my husband. In such a way, she is lamenting. Saham Bhagavato Nunam Vanchita Maya Dhudam Yatvam Vimuktitam Prapya Namamukshaya Bandhanat. Saham Bhagavato Nunam. Sa Aham, that very person, Aham, myself, Bhagavataha, of the Lord, Nunam, surely, Vanchita Maya Dhudam. I was cheated by the illusory energy of the Lord, Dhudam, which is solid. Daivi hi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dhuratyaya. Dhuratyaya, Krishna is Mama Maya Dhuratyaya. So now he is addressing, Dev is addressing Vanchita Maya Dhudam. Yatvam Vimkritam Prapya Namamukshaya Bandhanat. Even though, so this is Devhuti's words when she is speaking to Kadma Prajapati. Even though I have got a devotee husband, I did not ask for devotional service, that transcendent knowledge. Yatvam Vimkritam Prapya. Vimuktam, who gives liberation, Prapya, having attained, but Namamukshaya Bandhanat, but I did not sought for liberation from the material bondage. This is her main point. My Lord, surely I have been solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For in spite of having obtained your association, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation. Likewise, Devotee is lamenting. So this is, one has to, when he is living, going through children, family, marriages, and again children, grandchildren, they're all coming and going. But what is our destination? So this is free ourselves from the material entanglement. That is the ultimate thing. And then one side is a liberation from the materialistic things, other side is the attachment to the service of the Lord. So two things must happen. Asat Sangat Tyagi, who is the Vaishnava, again devotee, who is called devotee, Asat Sangat Tyagi. And he must be Tato Dusangam Musurja Satu Sachet Buddhiman, Santaye Vasyananti Manovyasanga Mukti Bihi. Leave bad association, associate with the devotees, no more mental speculations, and engage yourself in the devotional service. Okay, likewise, Krishna says to Uddhava as well. This is like Devhuti could not utilize that one properly. In such a way, she is lamenting. But what is Ajnata Sukriti? She has associated with a devotee husband. That is Ajnata Sukriti. That would yield further for Atato Brahma Jijnasa, asking for so many questions and the transcendental knowledge. Later on, we would see in the next, until the end of this canto. Okay, so there I stop. So this is again just reviving as in a few bullet points. One is how Devhuti served her husband, and later on how Kardama Prajapati pleased with her and then give the benediction to her and creating this aerial mansion. And later on Devhuti was nicely cleansed herself, and then later on they have enjoyed for 100 years and then returned back, and then Kadama Prajapati expanded himself into 9 forms and begotten 9 daughters in the womb of Devhuti. It was time for him to leave. Understanding the Kadama Muni's intention, Devhuti speaks this lamenting the words. So she is desiring for Abhyam Datu Marhasi, my dear husband, please give me this fearlessness. Okay, in such a way, she is lamenting and addressing many things. Okay, I stop there. I request the devotees, if you have got any questions, kindly ask, or if you wanted to share anything, kindly share. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Wow, beautiful summary, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Very nice, clear explanation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
I
Krishna.
have a question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
When you said when a wife does pious activities and husband also does pious activities, then husband usually half of the credit goes to the wife.
Yes,
But
pious activities. Yes.
yes, Prabhuji. But in that case, okay, if the wife is also nice person, serving husband and doing devotional service, and that's okay for me, I can accept. But if the wife is not a good person, if she is not doing any pious activity,
Yeah.
why should the husband take half of the impious credit, Prabhuji? That seems like little unfair when we think like that.
Yes, Mataji, that is true. But actually, because wife is a surrendered person to the husband, and husband's duty is to protect the wife. Okay, and that is his main duty. Again, in the Bhagavatam, if you are not able to deliver your wife, then you cannot become a husband. If you cannot deliver your children from the material entanglement, don't become a father, mother, or spiritual master or a demigod. But here, as a wife, she is surrendered to the husband. Husband must teach her in such a way she would engage herself in the pious activities. So otherwise, he would be liable to receive the sinful activities of your wife. Okay, that is again Nitai Sevan Mataji was explaining on that one in one of the lectures.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. So, when I listen to this, I feel like husbands have to do even more pious activities, like chanting and all those things. They have to double because now
Yes,
they need to understand that whatever they do, half is already gone. On top of it, they'll get their half of the wife's impious also they'll get. So they have to double what they have to do, right, Prabhuji?
yes, Mataji. And also husband, after 50 years, he can leave the home. He has got that freedom, but women, that is not allowed to leave the home like that. She is called housewife, means she is the in charge of the house. Gruhini, who is maintaining the house. But Gruhastu, it is not the house. House does not belong, even though he pays rents and bills, it does not belong to him. He is simply present there because he is going to leave soon. But if the wife, by her service, rendering good service to husband, she can retain her husband and engaging in the devotional service instead of the sense gratification. That way she can retain. But if husband is properly following the scriptures, then he can leave at any moment, like Kadama Prajapati was leaving. That freedom is there for men.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, they can
There are
survive anyway.
pros and cons, both sides.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Yes, equally equal. Like yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for answering my question. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Just to follow on to Mataji's question. So when the husband leaves at the age of 50 or after,
Yes.
then does he still take half the impious activity of the wife after that point? Hare Krishna.
Up to that point. After that,
Yeah,
no.
after leaving.
After that, because he is renounced, so he does not receive anything from the home.
Right. So he won't take half the impious activity from that
Yes.
point forward. That's what I'm trying to find.
Yes, yes. So now he is
Oh.
Parivrajat Padavim Astoham. So Kadama Prajapati, he mentions because he's completely now surrendered to the Supreme Lord. He does not relate it to a pious or impious. He is now
Oh,
akarma, engaged in the akarma.
sure. Okay. But what about the situation where the father leaves and he has to take the child with himself, or in that case?
So here,
For example, okay, so this is probably the wrong example. So if there's been a divorce in the family, in
yeah,
that case, and then the father leaves and takes the child with them, or something happens, is that kind of meaning? I know there isn't divorce in the in our
yeah.
Vedic society, but the Western society has such things. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so this one is very important. First of all, who is what? So husband and wife, who is a devotee, who is not a devotee? Again, that matters. And husband duty, there is no divorce concept in the Vedic life, that we already know. And if even though a woman is to not to live with the husband, she can live separately with a non-devotee husband, separately with her children. She could live without associating bodily thing. She can live separately if she is a devotee. Prabhupada has mentioned in the purports. Okay, she does not have to serve the non-devotee husband, even though he has got all sinful activities, meat eating, gambling, and all those stuff. She does not have to serve, but she can live separately, but no divorce, engaging in the devotional service. That is there. And whenever it comes to the husband side, uh, husband has to provide protection to the wife, even though she does, and he should not divorce as well. He can live separately, but no divorce concept. And he should be responsible to protect the wife and by giving the child as well. So like Kaddama Muni, later in the next chapter, he also mentions that the son, once the son is grown up, Kapil Bhagavan is grown up child is there, then he gives in charge of Devahuti and then he leaves. Okay, that is the duty of a husband. But without providing any shelter to the wife and children, he cannot leave just like that. There is no concept of divorce. So because it is a commitment, and they can stay in far away. That is possible, but no divorce. No divorce. What happens? On the name of divorce, they will get married to some other else, again polluted by some other personalities. And if woman marries another husband, then it is not good for the children. She is the enemy to the children, as per the Chanakya. If woman marries second time, she becomes the enemy to her children. So likewise, there are many injunctions, but there is no concept of divorce. They can stay far away and then protect each other, their interests.
Okay, there's a lot of complication there.
Yes,
Uh,
let us
I understand.
complication.
It's not a simple answer. I understand. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you. That was very good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sorry, I could not change the my name into this thing. I do
Yeah,
not know
that's
why.
fine, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have one question, Prabhu. So, what we were discussing about accumulating the impious activities of the wife, and also maybe up to 50, even the man has done some impious activities. So, is there any way to reduce the effect of these impious activities, Prabhu? When after 50, suppose the man, you know, wants to wants to go for the spiritual life and is
Yeah.
following the spiritual path.
Yes, as soon as he come to the spiritual path, to Krishna consciousness, that will nullify all of those sinful activities. तेनैकजन्मशमलं सहसैव हित्वा संयान्त्यपावृतं tamajam prapadye. Lord Brahma says, Tenaika so many lifetimes sinful activities will be completely purified. And also here, Jatuhu manha samala saili nisrustavajram dhayechiram bhagavataha charanaravindam. And that lotus feet of the Lord, it will kick the mountain of sinful activities. It will kick with just like that. And everything will be nullified. But yeah, one has to simply tolerate, engage in the devotional service to Krishna. That's all. Because that service itself, the chanting, following regulative principles, everything, that itself, it will purify him. And he will come under direct supervision of Krishna. And then no more sinful activities. But sometimes because he has stopped all sinful activities, he may be reaping old ones at the later times when he was engaging. Because once he come to Krishna consciousness, that should be ultimate end. So by the time the debts and credits both needs to be spent, at the time we may need to face few challenges, but one must be tolerated. They will come and go. We simply tolerate carrying our duties, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not engaging in the sinful activities, follow the four regulative principles associated with the devotees. That's why Sangahateshu Atite Prajyaha Sanga Dosha Harahite. When you associate with the devotees, saintly persons, then automatically your Sanga Dosha Harahite, they will be nullified. Because that is in front of the saintly people, the sinful activities cannot stand. And once again, in the Parikshit Maharaj is glorifying Sukadev Goswami. In front of Vishnu, demons cannot stand. In a similar way, in front of the saint, there is no sinful activities can stand. It's a very beautiful statement. Likewise, one who is surrendered to Krishna, he does not have to worry about his future. But he simply has to titikshivaha, karunikaha, suhridaha, sarvadehinam, ajata satravaha, santaha, sadavaha, sadubhoshanaha. Simply tolerate and follow this, keeping all the good qualities himself. So that is the only ultimate solution for him. He does not have to worry about all the sinful acts. They'll all be coming to end with this body only until end of this. After that, he'll be freed. That's why we associate with the devotees.
Understand, Prabhu. So very nicely explained. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So Kapil Bhagavan says, Tayete sadvaha sadvi sarvasanga vivajjitaha sarvasanga vivajjitaha sanghateshu atate prajyaha sangadosha harahite. This is about the saintly people. They always Madashriyaha katabrushtaha shrunvanti katayanti cha tapanti vivestapa naitan madgata chetasaha. They take my shelter, hearing my katha. They do not experience these tapatriyas because madgata chetasaha. That is the devotees of the Lord. Though the pains may be coming, pains and pleasures, because of toleration, they do not experience them. They do not experience those pains and pleasures. We know that they will come and go, but simply tolerate. Do not speak any harsh words, raised words, not in high tone as well, and no arguing words. Simply, yes, okay, that's fine, I will do it in such a way. Trunadapi sunitena tarorapi sahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Very simply toleration. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for explaining.
So there Krishna also describes that apichet sudhracharo bhajate mam ananyabhav sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavito hi saha. Even though sometimes he knowingly or unknowingly he has performed, committed sinful activities, Because of that process, he has taken the spiritual path, that it will rectify him. And we need to treat him as a sadhu only. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigachyati. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasyati. Who has surrendered to Krishna? They're always protected by Krishna. They will never be name bhakta pranasyati. Krishna protects them from all time and circumstances. Thank you, Prabhuji. Any other questions?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances.
Hare.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful explanation of the chapter. Very beautifully explained and very thoroughly explained. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. It's all devotees' blessings. Hare Krishna. Okay, if there are no more questions, then we shall conclude our session for tonight and see you next Friday.
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा
च
पतितानां
पतितनं
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः
नमः।
अनन्तकोटि
वैष्णव
वैष्णववृन्द
की
की
जय।
जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद
की
की
जय
जय।
श्रीमद् भागवतम की
की जय।
जय थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji, for the
Krishna.
lovely explanations. Thank you. Hare Krishna.